Hi, welcome to Rocky Creek Kitchen. You never know what we're brewing up here in Rocky Creek Kitchen, but today we're doing chicken feed. And just like we do with our dogs and our other animals, we mix a lot of our own feed and to supplement what we buy at the co-op. In my little tray here, I have what I'm feeding them right now. This is cracked corn, laying mash, a little sweet feed, some oyster shell, stinging nettles, sea kelp, and navy beans. Now with the corn, it has to be cracked and it has to be cleaned, otherwise it's going to be way too dusty and dirty. And corn has about 9% protein. So corn is excellent for putting a little fat on their bones, but it doesn't give them everything they need. This is the laying mash, which has a mixture of different things in it and then kind of ground up into a fine little, little small pellets here. It has 16% protein, which is pretty darn good, and it also has meat in it, which is extremely beneficial to the poultry. This is a little sweet feed, and I kind of give this to them as just their little dessert, you might say. It has about 12% protein, but it has a lot of little mixture of things in there that they like. This is oyster shell, which is very important for their mineral content, for the hardness of their eggs, and for grit, because Jack and Mabel don't have any teeth, so they have to grind up this corn and grind up all their food and the bugs they eat, and they do that in their little craw. And the little oyster shells go in there and help with the grit and to grind up the grain. Now, if you live in a very sandy little rocky area, in the summertime especially, they won't need very much oyster shell. But especially in the winter, and we have snow cover outside, they're going to need something to help with that food. So you can kind of play it by ear on how much of this you give them the rest of the year. Now this is stinging nettles, and I love stinging nettles. They grow wild down by the creek, and they have so much nutrition in them. I always give my chickens herbs because, let's face it, I'm an herbalist, so I got to give herbs to everything. But stinging nettles have so many nutrients, so many minerals, and they are good in so many ways, not only for chickens, but for everything. So I always add some herbs, some green herbs for my chickens. In the winter, they're dried like these because I harvested these last summer. But in the summertime, I chop them down and give them to them fresh and green. Now, the sea kelp that I have here is important for iodine and for a salt content that chickens do need. So I can't tell you enough how just the addition of a little bit of seaweed will improve the nutrition and the health of your chickens. And then the navy beans really give them a boost of protein. Navy beans have about 24.5%. If you want to use soybeans, that's about 27% protein. Excellent little boost for them. And you give them the beans maybe once a week, or once every 4 or 5 days, depending on how your chickens are laying. If they're laying a lot, they need a lot more protein, and of course depending on how many roosters you have per hen and that kind of thing. So that's what we're giving them, and it's winter. It'll change a little bit in the summer, but for right now this is what they're getting. So I gotta go because I had to cook my beans for Jack and Mabel. Hi, welcome to the Rocky Creek Kitchen. Today we're making white navy beans. No, not for the family, for Jack and Mabel, our chickens. Chickens need extra protein, and so every once in a while I mix up a batch of beans so they can get their protein, because I want them to have more than what is in the corn or the chicken laying mash or the mixed feed that I give them. So all you need to do is choose a bean. It can be any bean really, but these beans have about 24.5% protein. Put them in the pan, put some water on them, soak them overnight just like you do for your family. Now the next morning after they've soaked overnight, you put them on the stove and raise them to at least 180 degrees and cook them for only 15 minutes. Here's where the instructions depart a little bit than you would as if you was fixing them for your family. So you cook them for 15 minutes to kill the trypsin that's inside the bean, because if chickens eat beans raw, even soybeans, The little trypsin that's in there will cut them all up on the inside, and it's very bad for your chickens. So if you're going to give them extra protein, the beans have to be cooked. And then after I cook them for 15 minutes, I cool them, I give them that water as well, and I just mix it up. Sometimes I put the little mash in it. Sometimes I just give them a little pot of beans, a little pan of beans out there in their coop, and let them eat that, and they get their extra protein. Feast your eyes on these. Aren't they beautiful? This is what Mabel gives us every day. Beautiful, medium-sized brown eggs. Now, our eggs here at Rocky Creek Valley Farm are free-range eggs, and free-range eggs are proven to be more healthy than the supermarket caged eggs that you buy. About 5 years ago, Mother Earth News did a study and discovered that free-range eggs, as opposed to the caged eggs, have about half the cholesterol, about twice the amount of vitamin E, 2 to 6 times the amount of beta-carotene, which makes vitamin A, and 4 times the amount of omega-3. Free-range eggs, the only way to go.